gentle listeners and viewers, and welcome to another episode of Prima Nerd Podcast. And for those of you joining us for the first time, this is a podcast done in English and in Portuguese where we discuss movies, TV shows, and pop culture. It's a bit of a mixed bag of what we discuss, and I hope you'll join us on this journey. For those of you returning, my name is Nisa, and I'm joined as always by my festive co-host, Bella.
Hello, everybody.
And today we are going to be discussing two movies that we thought were huge Disney classics. Wow. Not Disney. Well, Home Alone. Oh, one of them is Home Alone, which can be found on Disney Plus, and so can A Christmas Carol. Well, at least one version of two versions of the Christmas. 3 versions of the Christmas Carol can be found on Disney Channel.
3.
On this 3 can be found.
At least 3
can be found on Disney Plus. I am having a great time speaking today. This is going great. Starting off with a bang. So we chose these movies because they not only are they huge classics, but they are still very relevant, I believe, right? And
yes, and they have very a great influence on the pop culture and on the movies from Christmas and not Christmas as well.
It's still well known. I think you have to be living under a rock to not have at least heard of these two movies. Okay. Yeah. So we're going to start our conversation with Home Alone. This movie came out in November of 1990. It was written, the screenplay was written by John Hughes, who is well known for tons of teen movies in the 80s, like Ferris Bueller's Day Off, Breakfast Club, Pretty in Pink, and 16 Candles, to name a few. And it's directed by Chris Columbus, who is well known for movies like tiny, small movies like Harry Potter.
Not very important.
Not very important, not well known at all. Harry Potter, at least the first 2. Adventures in Babysitting, The Goonies, Mrs. Doubtfire, Night at the Museum.
Mm-hmm.
Just to name a few. The list is very big, but we're just going to leave it at that. And this movie is, well, if you don't know, it's a story about basically this kid whose family goes off on Christmas vacation to Paris and leaves him behind. That is it. That is the whole synopsis of the movie. And then shenanigans and comedy ensues, basically, is the gist of it.
And I have to ask.
Yeah.
How you forget your own son behind in a big trouble? How?
Okay. I can understand, because at the beginning of the movie, you see that there is thousands of people in that house. By the way, that house is massive. What do those parents? Yeah, but what do those parents do that they have that much money? Because the house is massive. Let's first off. Anyway, but then there's tons of kids. There's like uncles, aunts, family, everyone packing and getting ready to go for this huge trip to Paris the next day to celebrate Christmas with one of their brothers or one of the, I don't know if it's the mom's brother or the dad's brother, but either way, they're going to Paris. Everyone is going. And so and then they wake up late because there is a powder outage and their alarm clocks don't ring. So everyone is running around and trying to grab everything at once. I don't understand how, if Kevin is sharing a bed with one of his cousins.
No, he wasn't, because he complained that the cousin pee on the mattress on the.
Okay.
So he complained, and the mom agrees to, okay, so you sleep alone. So.
And sends him to the attic.
Move can happen.
Yeah, that's exactly, a movie can happen. So they're running late, and there are 2 vans picking the family up, right? They're running late. It's a huge. There's a huge. I want to say kerfuffle. I don't know why. There's a huge movement of them trying to get ready to leave to the airport. So I understand that maybe in the van, and this is not also our. I get that.
Yeah, that point makes sense.
Especially because there's no cell phones to confirm with the other families, everyone here.
Yes.
Like okay, I get that. That I get.
Yeah.
Now.
And
no, go ahead.
And the daughter count the kids and count the neighbor instead of Kevin.
Oh, right, because the
So
neighbor
okay, in
comes
that
by.
part makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
So in that point makes sense.
Yeah.
Because okay, there is 11 child, so it's okay, it's the correct number. But then the neighbor stayed behind. So when they arrive in the airport, where is every, like, they didn't count again?
Yeah,
Like never?
that's where I think it's weird. Like for me, I even understand when they're getting ready to go in, but when they go to like do the check-in, okay, I know this is also 1990, where the security isn't as intense as it is today, but still the basic points are still there. You still have to check in. You would still check in as a family. Everyone gets their passports out and they make sure that everyone is together, and then you would go through security. How between checkout and security and getting on the plane do you not notice that your child is missing?
Yeah. So, and it's a 8-year-old boy.
8-year-old, like you would be concerned with
so
it.
the documents probably is with the mom.
Or the dad.
So
whichever
the passport and the ticket is with the mom or the father, whatever. But
an adult.
they like, okay, there is a passport here and there's no kid here. Oh.
Unless the passport was thrown out in the garbage, like you kind of see, like when he spilled the drinks. You know that he attacks his brother and the drinks get spilled and there's like passports on top of the table where they get all the napkins and they dump it in the but still you not notice that there's a passport of one of your children missing. Like I don't.
Yes, makes no sense. But okay, it's a
movie,
child movie. Yeah,
it's a family movie.
We're supposed to believe that it's possible and all this happened. Because when I was a kid and I watched the movie, I felt like this is so nice because Kevin do everything by him alone, and like it's funny to see the movie as a kid. Like imagine that. Oh, I wanted to do all these things because it's funny, and
I've always wanted the house to myself. I get to do no one's around, bug me, and we have big families, so we understand the idea of being like, yes, no one's around.
Yeah.
So I get that.
I want and everything. So
but the difference between that family and our family is I highly doubt one of our aunts would not realize that we're not. One of our cousins, one of our aunts would not realize that we're not around. Just saying. We care about we care about our cousins and our nephews and nieces. At least our family does. I don't know about theirs, but our family
does. Well, there is there was a moment in my life that we forgot my sister in the airport.
Okay. But you wouldn't have gotten on the plane without her, I'm sure.
No. The story is we were traveling for my sister's birthday,
15th birthday.
To the United States. So it was a big deal, and our aunts and cousins went with us to New York. And so first, we traveled from Belo Horizonte to Rio de Janeiro, then to Rio de Janeiro to New York.
There are no straight flights to New York. That's why.
No, there is, but
not from BH, not from Belo Horizonte. There isn't any straight to New York, I don't think. Or now there is, but only one airline. Doesn't matter.
I think now there is because
cool.
they expand the airport here. So
yay! Now makes my life easier when I come to this.
Yeah, like it's 3 times bigger than before now.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, so now there is.
Yeah, but before there isn't, hence why this little fun game of.
Yes, so we went to Rio de Janeiro, and when we were in Rio, all the woman, all the family decided to go to the bathroom together, like girls do.
Most of the time, yeah.
Yeah, and my sister went with us, obviously, but she was the last one to leave the bathroom, and we forgot about her and went alone, and she stayed there waiting for someone because she thought that someone will.
She didn't know that she was the last one.
She doesn't realize she was the last one, so she stayed there waiting for someone to go off the cabine.
Stall.
The stall. So she stayed there, and we forgot about her and went back, and we started talking and laughing, and we didn't miss her. Like, it was for 20 minutes.
Okay.
And yeah, but we didn't miss her at the time. And she when she came back, where we were with the package, package, no, it's malas, bagagem.
Oh, luggage.
Yeah, she was very upset because we forgot her.
I would imagine so.
Yeah. And she started to complain because in Portuguese, the name of the name of the movie, it's They Forgot About Me.
Yeah.
Is this?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So she started to complain, "You forgot about me," like the movie. And we started to make fun of her, that we will go on the plane and go to New York without her, like the family on the Home Alone.
Yeah. See, there's two differences. Yes, you forgot her in the bathroom, but at some point you realize someone's missing. It didn't take that long. I mean, relatively, it didn't take you to be flying on the plane for you to realize, already going to Paris, for you to realize that your child is missing when you're on the plane. It didn't take you that long to realize that Amanda was not there. But I know, I mean, it's like one of those, but it's a huge difference. She wasn't forget her at home, forgot her in the airport. But again, the reference is there because the title of the movie makes sense. It wouldn't have worked as well in English, but it's funny. And that explains why she was traumatized. And every time we all went to the bathroom together, she would yell from her stall, "Your mom or you," just to make sure no one had left her.
Yeah, and well, I can understand her because this happened in the airport. And she doesn't speak in English. So imagine if this happened in the US.
Yeah,
she couldn't even ask for help, like, No,
I get it. I'm saying, now I understand why she was so, like, all the time. It's like you literally forgot about her. She has a legitimate traumatizing reason to be frightened of being forgotten.
Completely normal.
Yeah. But it's like, again, like, you have moments like that where in real life you have references to the movie in real life. Like, if you get a kid at home, or the kid finally gets to spend time at home by themselves, I assume that they kind of feel like it's a Home Alone moment for them.
Yeah.
You have the fact that because this movie was so successful, like extremely successful, apparently it became a verb in Hollywood that if a movie did really well, for example, a movie did really well, but it didn't do as well as it should have, comparing it to another movie that came out around the same time, then the movie was Home Alone, because it was overshadowed. No, you went away.
I'm here.
Hi.
Sorry.
That's okay. I was just saying that.
No, I heard you.
I wasn't sure if you lost me or not, but okay. So it becomes an expression now that a movie can be Home Alone if it got overshadowed by another one. I thought that was funny. My hat is shedding onto my clothes. My hat was shedding onto my clothes. Had like little white dots all over my sweater, and I'm like,
but I think this movie entered the Guinness Book because
for 25 years.
Yes, because it was the most lucrative. Yes, this. Thank you. Movie.
Comedy movie.
Say for me, please.
It was the top grossing comedy movie that came out in 1990. It grossed 477 million worldwide, and it was put on the Guinness Book of World Records, and it's held that record for 25 years, I think.
Thank you. I was trying to explain this, but so many difficult words on the way.
Yeah, I get that. But what was I gonna say? So because this movie was, I'm just gonna change gears a little bit. Because I can. Um, the score reminds me of Harry Potter, which makes sense because John Williams, who wrote the score, is not only he's famous for things like Star Wars, Indiana Jones, Harry Potter, basically any movie soundtrack you know the music to, very good chance he wrote it. So the classics,
he's a
right?
Genius.
He is. So I understand that there's a comparison, and I think there's like that whole there's a and it's not like it's the main theme for Harry Potter. It's like the songs you hear in the background very lightly. And if you're someone like me who listens to the soundtrack a lot because you fell in love with the music, you recognize it from far away that it's something from the soundtrack. The same thing that happened when I was watching Avengers, and I mentioned that there's a scene with Loki that sounds very much like a song from actually Attack of the Clones, because I listen to that soundtrack a lot because I like the music. It's a very small part. It's not like in your face, but it's there. And it's the same thing here, that it's from far away, like, oh, it sounds reminds me of Harry Potter. So maybe this could have been the inspiration for Harry Potter.
Yeah, it's a possibility. Yeah, it's a possibility because it was the same songwriter. So yeah, it's
the same person.
Maybe it's his style.
Yeah, the composer is
his style. Yeah,
I mean, maybe you do hear things similar in other things that he's done. Like, I mean, obviously, he hasn't written all of the Harry Potters. I think he's only done the first two, and then the other ones I think were done by other people. I think one of them, I remember being Patrick Doyle, has done some of the Harry Potter movies. But he's the one who kind of set the tone, if you will.
Yeah, it's true. But talking about music, Carol of the Bells is there.
Mm-hmm. This isn't most Disney movies. Also, Christmas commercials. I hear it all the time. Why are we mentioning this? You ask. Why is this song all of a sudden so important to be mentioned? Well, would you like me to share the story, or would you?
No, you can share because it's more funny when you say.
So, we were having a discussion about music and how specifically picking of Christmas movies, Christmas music to do something special with. And I'm like, oh, we can do Carol of the Bells. It's a really great song. It's a beautiful. She goes, I've never heard it. I'm like, yes, you have. Maybe you don't know it by name, but yes, you have. Play her the song. She goes, no, I never heard this. I'm like, that's impossible. It's everywhere during Christmas.
Literally impossible.
Everywhere. I mean, you have the instrumental, the ones with the lyrics, they're as popular as each other. It's not like one is more well known than the other. I almost positive I've heard my dad sing this song in Portuguese. I almost positive I have. I could be imagining it. I could be creating it in my head. But she's like, no, I never heard it. And then we decided to do our Christmas, our homework for our Christmas episode, this one that you are watching / hearing to right now. And she goes, and I'm like, we saw this, we saw a few other movies, and I'm like, Ella, they're in basically all of them. What do you mean?
But I don't know what happened. I have no idea what happened in my mind that I didn't.
You blocked it out somehow.
I have no idea how, but yeah, this happened.
I'd like to know how.
In my defense, if there is a defense, I don't know. It's not very popular in Brazil, okay? It's not a music that plays everywhere in Brazil. So
maybe
this is the only thing I can say.
But I was just gonna say, it's kind of like have you ever seen the show How I Met Your Mother?
Yes.
Okay, so there's a whole no. There's an episode, maybe. There's an episode.
Probably, yeah.
Probably, I don't know. There's a good chance now. There's an episode where they're talking about gaps in their knowledge, like not knowing how to pronounce certain words, not knowing how to spell. This is a gap in your knowledge.
Yes. This is a huge huge
gap.
You
lived in England. You should know that word.
I know this word.
I'm kidding.
I'm ashamed now. So when you are ashamed, you don't talk very well.
I don't know why you're ashamed. It's funny. I mean, it's one of those things.
No,
like there's probably
come on. It's because come on. I have heard this song all my life, and I didn't recognize this song.
Maybe
I didn't
you heard it
record in my mind.
Maybe you've heard it one too many times when you were young, and it traumatized you, and you blocked it out.
No, I don't.
Mine's
think
like, I don't want to hear it.
I don't think I'm traumatized, because it's funny, because now I recognize this music everywhere. It's like playing everywhere. It's weird, because it's like, oh, it's here as well. It's hunting me.
Yeah, now that you're aware of it, you're gonna hear it every time it plays. You go, oh, I know that song.
Yes, exactly. But okay, move on.
Moving on. Moving on. I was gonna say two things. One, I remember, as we mentioned, that this movie has had a huge impact, not only in terms of Hollywood and movies doing well or not, based off of like, success and being home alone because they were beat out by another movie, or you have references. I remember looking at IMDb, there was huge list of references of where this movie has either been made a spoof, a parody, has been mentioned. Kevin has been mentioned. Home Alone has been mentioned. Something to do with the movie. No, hear what? Now I do.
If I say to you, there is probably my mom opening a coconut, what do you say?
Sounds about right. Coconuts are difficult to open.
Yeah, so yeah, my mom is opening a coconut probably.
I think my mom is in our living room. Look, I don't know if it's her or if it's someone upstairs. My mom is also probably doing something in the living room too. But what was I gonna say? By the way, I'm jealous that you can drink fresh coconut water. Not something we can do here. Anyway, so for those of you who can't see, I basically stuck out my tongue. 30-year-old woman sticking out her tongue at a person. Yeah, that's mature. So it's been influenced. There's a huge list on IMDb of all the things that have referenced it, right? There is so in Skyfall, the scene, I think I mentioned this in our Skyfall episode. I most likely did because it stuck out. Is the scene where they're at the house and they don't have any weapons, so they have to basically find some way of turning this house into some form of a weapon, right? I remember thinking to myself, hey, it's kind of like Home Alone, but for like grown-ups, right? Yes. And I thought this and
like a very
sophisticated and deadlier and more violent version of Home Alone.
More lethal.
More what? Lethal, yeah. Lethal? And also lethal. There's a TH in there, which is your favorite thing to try to pronounce. Yeah. For those of you who don't know, TH for Portuguese speakers is the death of them. They hate it. Yes. So that scene happens, and I'm like, hey, it's like a more lethal, sophisticated, deadlier, less funny version.
Less funny, for sure.
Of Home Alone. Yeah. I said this, made a comment, and we moved on. Was looking up stuff, was doing a little bit of research for this movie. Guess what I found about the director's commentary? He confirmed it.
It is
a reference, and I'm like, haha.
Really a reference, yeah.
It is a reference. I thought that was cool, and again, goes right back to our whole. This movie is relevant. It has been steeped into pop culture to the fact that even a Bond movie has referenced it. Not two things you'd see go together, but there you go.
Not exactly.
But yeah. That's for me one of the things and then of course you have the whole his whole setup with like the bad guys, which my question is, how do they not die with most of the things that happen?
Yeah,
it's like a cartoon.
The iron, the iron is iron, right?
Iron, yeah.
The iron
falls on top of
his head. Yeah, from a very high
height.
Yeah, a very high height. It's weird. Okay.
From a height. And then I think it was turned on because his face was marked red, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. So it's, even if it's not turned on, come on, it's iron. It's heavy and from a very high.
Yeah, it drops from a good height. Like, it wasn't like it was dangling. It looked like it fell. It took a while for it to fall on top of him. And then you also have Joe Pesci.
I think it comes from the
first floor, because you're in the basement, so the first floor,
the upper floor, floor.
So you have, and then you have Joe Pesci climbing up the stairs, slipping on ice, and basically falling on his neck, and is still alive. There is someone's car alarm beeping behind me. Sorry about that.
And they didn't leave the house alone, like, oh, forget about this. Because come on, if I almost been killed for a kid, there is other houses they can steal. So they are very stubborn.
Yeah, they want it. I think the whole point of them is that they want to kind of kill this kid because I love that they're already wrong and he's defending the house and they're mad at the kid for defending it. I'm like, that makes no sense to me, but okay. So yeah, I just love that scene, and I love also the scene where he's doing laundry, because as soon as my headphone falls out, as soon as I saw him pouring the dish soap, the detergent into the I'm like, oh my god, he's gonna drop the whole entire thing. That's it. It's gonna be that scene where you see in every single movie where you see kids trying to do laundry. It's just gonna turn into a massive mess. Yes. No, he actually does it correctly.
Which is a surprise, because when I was 8, I didn't know how to wash clothes, how to cook. Probably I would starve.
I knew how to cook by 8 o'clock. By 8 years old, I knew how to cook. Yeah, 8 o'clock. Yeah, I'm just gonna No, and English is not one of my first languages at all. So I knew how to cook. I think I understand the basic idea of laundry by 8. And I think.
Well, I knew the basic idea, like you put the clothes, you put the detergent. So, but I would put all together, like all the colors together, and probably.
I think I knew that you needed to separate them. I think by that I knew you need to separate. I don't know. I'm guessing. I could be completely wrong. Cooking, I knew how to do. But yeah, so, and then I also love the fact that he is able to tell the furnace to shut up because the furnace turned into a monster, right? When he looks at it, and he's able to, I thought that was so cute, again, of him like facing his fears. And
so to show how much he evolved.
Yeah. So I thought this movie again has a great message, and you see that, this is a kid who was scared of things, and everyone basically didn't care for him and treated him horribly. And you see the beginning of the movie, and then he just kind of, gains so much confidence, and it's a cute movie, and it shows just how much, I guess, also has that message of like you're capable of more than you realize, kind of thing.
Yes, true.
So it's a very sweet movie. It's definitely a Christmas classic. Like, you definitely think Christmas when you definitely think, when you think Christmas movies, one of these definite movies for me is Home Alone. It's not one of the ones that I watch constantly, but it definitely is one that I remember for Christmas.
And I remember the line as well, but I think it's from the second. It's not the first one. It's the second one that you say, "Merry Christmas, your favorite animal."
No, that's from this one. Merry Christmas, you filthy animal. Because that's from the movie he's watching.
But it's Merry Christmas? Because in Portuguese, he doesn't say. They didn't translate the Merry Christmas. So.
Maybe he doesn't say. I know that one of the times he says, keep the change, you filthy animal.
Yeah, the filthy animal, they say. But I think Merry Christmas, your favorite
filthy.
Fifth animal. Yeah. Filthy animal is from the second, like the whole line. Merry Christmas, your favorite animal. It's from the second, I think. It is in this movie, this black and white movie that he puts to
something
to scare
angels.
The people.
To have a conversation with the people coming to visit the house.
Yes. This movie, it was made just for Home Alone.
Oh yeah,
This movie doesn't exist in the real world.
Very true. It does not. It's a very violent movie for a child to be watching, but I love that he goes from watching that to watching a Grinch cartoon. On the I thought that was funny. Again, another classic another classic Christmas movie. I don't know why I keep saying Disney. It makes no sense. Another classic Christmas movie, The Grinch, and he's watching the cartoon in the background, and it's playing the music too. But I think that's about it for our Home Alone discussion.
So now we'll move it to Christmas Carol.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, a Christmas Carol.
So Christmas Carol was written. Okay, was written by Charles Dickens on England in 1843.
Yes.
And I like very much this movie, even if it's not the happiest Christmas movie of all time.
It's not the happiest story. No, it is not. But it's a very. No, it's not. I definitely feel like it's a timeless story. It has been redone so many times.
Yes. Constantly. Well, the story is about Scrooge. There is a old man that doesn't like people and doesn't like Christmas.
Doesn't like being charitable.
Very alone. Yeah, and it's very he doesn't spend money with anything
cheap.
Because he thinks it's so he thinks it's a waste of time to spend money with anything. Yeah. So he's very alone. Nobody likes him because he is not a really cheerful
charming
person,
charismatic person.
No, he's the opposite of this. And he's visited by ghosts on the night.
He's visited by 3 ghosts. Well, he's visited by
4.
He's visited by 4. One of them being his friend and business partner. What?
Associate.
And business associate, Marley.
Yeah, I think it's
Marley. And then
that delivers the message that he needs to change,
or else he's going to end up like him. He'll end up like him because he
in the afterlife.
Yeah, and he'll suffer in the afterlife like him, and then he's going to be visited by 3 ghosts, and that's the setup for the story. And then he's visited by the ghosts of Christmas past, Christmas present, and Christmas future. And the rest, most likely you already know the story, is that he gets to see his past of how he wasn't such a horrible person, that he actually liked Christmas, to how what he's doing now affects the people in the present, and what will happen to him if he continues going down this road. And it's become basically synonymous with Christmas. The story, it's been retold several times. It was actually, there's even a movie that came out in 2019 called The Man Who Invented Christmas, which is based off a book by Lee Sandford's a nonfiction book that came out in 2008. And it's about how the movie, as well as the book, is about how what inspired Charles Dickens to write the book, right? And what's the inspiration, the whole story of how the book came to be. And Dan Stephen plays Charles Dickens, and Christopher Plummer plays Scrooge, because he actually, what I liked about this movie is that you see, like, obviously the book is everything isn't 100% fully accurate, the movie version, I'm assuming. But you have, like, what inspires the ghost element? What inspires Tiny Tim? What inspires where he gets the idea for Scrooge, which is because he walks past a cemetery and sees someone get buried, and that he was a cruel man, and so on and so forth. And he has a whole conversation with Scrooge as he creates the character and all these things. And and then you also, for me, what you learned, which is probably why it's called The Man Who Invented Christmas, is that Christmas was a minor holiday at that time. You kind of go, wait, what? Minor?
Yeah, it's weird, but
yeah.
if you think that it was a minor holiday, and Charles Dickens wrote 5 books about Christmas at his time, so yeah, he kind of invented Christmas, or at least become Christmas important in England.
I think he created the notion of being more charitable around Christmas, right? Because the whole point of the book is to be, oops, if I knock my knee into my table and shake my camera, sorry. So he because the whole book is basically that Scrooge needs to become more charitable, right? Like that's what causes him to be a better person and have a better life, is that if he's not always thinking about himself, he's thinking about others.
Yeah.
And
I think it's about hope as well.
Yeah. I think it's hope, and that it's never too late to change is the message. Because Scrooge is at the end of his life, basically, that's the whole point. He's a very old man. And that one of the things he says is that he doesn't want to die alone, doesn't want to die forgotten. And that he learns that it's never, the whole point of the ghost is to tell him, well, it's never too late to change. Which is why when he wakes up the next morning, he realizes, I need to change like right now, or else this is going to be my future. And
but he becomes the more charitable person of the whole world.
Yeah. And then in that year, charitable donations increased in England because of this book. And the book was also self-published by Dan Stevens. Well, Dan Stevens plays him in the movie, and I'm thinking about the movie, but Charles Dickens self-published the book because he wanted to get it out for Christmas. And people were kind of confused, like, why Christmas again, not the major holiday? Why ghosts during Christmas? But he was adamant about doing that, so he did it himself.
Yeah, he had a feeling, and he was right.
Oh, he was completely right. And it's still told today. Like, for example, it's such a well-told story that where you see a reference to it from miles away. Like, there's a movie with Matthew McConaughey, Jennifer Gardner, and Michael Douglas called Ghosts of Girlfriends Past, which is literally the same idea of a Christmas Carol, but done as a romantic comedy. He's visited by all these. He has to go to his uncle, who's this womanizer, comes to him and says, you need to change your ways. You don't want to end up like me. You're going to be visited by 3 ghosts. So he's Marley. Then you have his first ever girlfriend. None of these people are dead. These are like just for him to understand what's going on. So he's visited by his first ever girlfriend, played by Emma Stone. He then sees the present of how what he's done's affected people, and then of course what will happen if he doesn't change his ways. And I love the fact that it turned into a romantic comedy of like changing again. But the whole point of the movie is it doesn't fully apply just to Christmas, right?
And then it's about
change.
It's about change, but also it's about the world we live. Because we live in a society that is very consumista.
Consumist.
Yeah, and consumist and capitalist.
Capitalist. Capitalist. Sorry, I cannot speak.
It's almost the same word. Okay, so we give too much importance to money, and you have the phrase time is money, and sometimes people get this too far away in their life, and forget about family and friends and the things that really important.
Forget to live.
Really important. Forget to live as well. So you have a lot of money, and you don't spend the money. So what's the point?
Yeah, but in the that's very true. But in the place of Ghosts of Girlfriend Past, it's that you can't also treat people badly. You have to give value to human beings, right? Because he was taught that he doesn't ever. I don't think he ever wants to get something about not wanting to get his heart broken or whatever it is, but that you don't that whole idea of the womanizing way of thinking that you see a lot of movies and stuff, that the guy doesn't have to respect women, all this stuff, and realizing that that's not a way to live, because No one can survive living like that, right? Like pushing everyone away, not wanting anyone to get close. You're never going to be able to live a full life.
Yeah.
And then there's another one that deals with that too, which kind of shows another movie that I saw. It's one of those like freeform movies called Christmas Cupid, which is about this woman who's a workaholic. It's not that she's not charitable, but her whole entire life is consumed with her career. And then one of her and she's a PR person, and one of her clients, very famous singer, dies and comes back as a ghost and guides her through this idea that no, you cannot be all about work. You have to be about people and about your friends and your family and everything like that.
Well, all these stories about selfish persons.
Yeah, person has suffered
with
and
money,
has
with work, with relationships, but selfish.
They're selfish, and they've experienced a trauma they experienced something that broke their heart or hurt them so much that they refuse to ever be hurt again, that they then become all consuming and push everything and everyone away for whatever reason.
Yeah.
So that's kind of.
And there is others adaptations.
There are tons. There are thousands. Yes.
Yeah. Like, well, we have Mickey's Christmas Carol, where we have the Scrooge McDuck.
Where we got introduced to Scrooge McDuck, who then later becomes the very important character in DuckTales, to then recently, in the remake of it, find out the story of how the two characters relate. And it is that this Scrooge has nothing to do with that Scrooge. That the ghost came to the wrong Scrooge McDuck. Going to the wrong Scrooge McDuck and found out that this one is actually likable. So that was funny.
Likable. Well, we have the Muppet Christmas Carol, Flintstones Christmas Carol, Barbie, and the Christmas Carol. I don't know the name of the in English, like Os Fantasmas de Scrooge with Jim Carrey.
It's still called the Christmas Carol. It's called the Christmas Carol.
In English, it's Christmas Carol?
Christmas Carol.
Okay, because in Portuguese there is like 4 or 5 different names for the same story.
Same name.
Doctor Who made
2. So they had 2. They had one where they did Christmas specials on this. One was where the Doctor meets Charles Dickens. And basically the aliens that they're fighting appear to people like ghosts, and that's where the element of the ghost story comes in, and how that inspired Charles Dickens to write the story. The other one is how he uses the story of A Christmas Carol to try to convince this horrible man who doesn't care about anyone to save the life of his companions, Rory and Amy, who are on a ship that's about to crash into his planet, and also everyone else who's on board. So he has to use the idea of A Christmas Carol to try to save their lives. And Michael Gambon, or Dumbledore, plays the old man in that one.
Okay. We have one that I found very interesting. That is Batman Noel.
Yeah, Noel. That has not changed the name. Noel, so you got it right.
Yeah. Where Batman is Scrooge, Catwoman is the ghost of past Christmas
past.
Superman, Christmas past.
Yeah, okay.
Christmas past. Superman is the ghost of present Christmas.
Christmas present.
Why?
Don't ask. Okay, I don't know how to explain it to you.
Okay, and the Joker is the ghost of Christmas future.
Yes.
And I found this very interesting. It's kind of different because
it is, but it makes sense too. Yeah, it makes sense though too. I would like to read, but this is to read, right? It's not they didn't come out as a cartoon or a movie.
Yeah, it's a graphic novel.
Okay, so I would like to read that because that's I love this story, right?
Yeah.
I believe when I was younger.
I love Batman as well.
Yeah. There was a version when I was younger with Patrick Stewart that I think the Ghost of Christmas Future scared me a little bit frightened by him because he was like a massive giant. I don't know why, but it kind of freaked me out.
Well,
but
the most happy one?
No, it was just the massive size of it. No. But then the Grim Reaper scared me too. But I remember being also really kind of frightened by like this the creature. Like I was scared of the like because the Ghost of Past was a little frightening. Present was slightly a little daunting, and then the last one was terrifying when I was younger.
Wow.
But I remember. But what I love about this story, what I find fascinating to watch it, is the adaptations where they create, like for example, TV shows where they do an episode that's inspired. And you see a lot of this it's either inspired by A Christmas Carol or It's a Wonderful Life, where the person gets to see what their life would be like if it didn't exist. But TV shows either do one or the other because they're the best. They have the best morals, right? The best story, the best at the end, they give you this hope and they have the Christmas spirit of never too late to change. You're worth more than you think. You actually have influence. You people need you in their lives and all these things, right? So, I've seen thousands of episodes of the TV episode. One of my favorite ones is like from Boy Meets World. I think I saw, because again, Disney Plus has like a Christmas collection. You can watch a bunch of like movies and then they have like TV episodes. So I saw one of them called The Christmas London, which I think is A Sweet Life of Zach and Cody or Sweet Life on Deck, whichever one it is. But I wanted to watch it because I'm like, oh, I want to see how they decided to adapt this story because that's going to be kind of cool. And but again, I love how they take these stories and recreate them, like they adapt them to the real life. There's a movie that came out in 1987 with Bill Murray called Scrooged, where he is a TV producer putting on A Christmas Carol while the Christmas Carol story is happening to him. So like I like these ideas, like, or it's meta, or it's an adaptation where the person knows that it's happening to them, or it's a subtle reference without you being thrown in your face that it's A Christmas Carol. I like seeing how they reinvent the story, how they refashion it into it. I find that fascinating. So
and there is a reference on Shrek as well about Christmas Carol, because in the end, the gingerbread
man, cookie, it's a cookie, but it's still a gingerbread man.
Yes, so he broke the leg, and it's kind of patched.
They patched up, they patched it up.
Yeah, and
with
he
icing.
has a muleta. How is muleta?
Cane. No. Crutch.
Crutch.
For the crutch.
So he's wearing this, just like Tiny Tim from Christmas Carol, and he say the line that Tiny Tim
bless
say,
us, everyone.
Yes, this.
Yeah,
and he says this in the end of Shrek. So it's a
obvious reference.
It's an obvious reference. There's no way to miss this.
But it's a lot like when you say bah humbug, when someone, like, you have that person who's pissed off at Christmas and says, bah humbug, they're a Scrooge, or they call them a Grinch, or you call bah humbug. I don't know. It's an expression that was created for Scrooge.
Bah
humbug. So calling someone a Scrooge, someone who doesn't like Christmas, calling them a Scrooge or a Grinch. Everyone understands what that means. But I think that wraps up our conversation about these two movies.
Yes. Well, now I want to take some time to. I forgot the word in English.
What is the word in Portuguese?
I forgot.
Oh, I hate it when that happens. Oh, you're going to basically what you're trying to
recomendar um filme. Recommend a movie. To recommend a movie, which is Klaus.
Yeah. Netflix is Klaus.
Netflix first animated movie. Yeah. So
last year.
It
2019, right? It came out last year, correct?
Last year. It was from last year, but it was nominated for Oscar.
It was nominated for Best Animated Picture for the Oscars. Unfortunately, it lost to Toy Story 4.
Yeah, well, I prefer Klaus. I think this is more, but okay, because it's a cute story, and it's a cute story.
It's a great origin story of how the idea of Santa Claus came to be. I think I like their take on how Santa Claus came to be Santa Claus.
Yeah. So it's a recommendation. I think if you like Christmas or Christmas movie, it's a movie that you should watch.
Mm-hmm.
And
It's adorable. It's absolutely adorable.
There's tons of other movies. We have Die Hard. I start with Die Hard. Grinch.
Hold on, I completely forgot. What? Oh, Nutcracker. The Nutcracker, which you can also see as a ballet. There's a Disney movie that's a kind of a continuation of that story. You have
and Barbie has one as well. Well, Barbie likes
Lord. This. Again, that's Nutcracker is another one that's referenced to in movies and TV shows in some form or another sometimes too. Another one,
the Nutcracker itself, it's a toy that is always on the decoration of houses and everything.
We have one here. We have two in this house. My mom had no idea where one of them is, so we have one of them. My friend Jen gave. My friend Jen gave my last year. It gave us me and my mom one. Not last year, a few years ago. It's one of my mom's favorites.
I'll buy one.
And if you're listening, hi Jen, or listening or watching.
Other Herói de Brinquedo, I don't know, with Arnold Schwarzenegger. I don't know the name in English.
I know which one you're talking about, but I can't remember the name of it in English.
He became a superhero for his son.
Yeah, I can't remember what it is, but I know but there's a tons of like Disney Channel movies that are Christmas movies. You have or if we're going to talk about Netflix movies, like not all of them are good, because let's face it, there's a bunch of like romantic ones that I'm like, okay, there are a lot of basically just a bunch of Hallmark movies, but I love this one. Jingle Jangle came out this year, was really, really good. I loved it. We also have last year's A Christmas Chronicles. You have the Christmas Chronicles 2 that came out this year, which I ended up watching because my mom loves Goldie Hawn, and she's in the movie. And there is a reference to Home Alone in Christmas Chronicles 2. There's a scene where they're in the airport in 1990, and there's a woman. They're in an airport in Boston. She's adamant about having to get back to Chicago. The haircut, the way she's speaking, all supposed to reference the mom in Home Alone. So basically, it's a crossover.
So it's a crossover, yeah. Well,
you have various different versions of The Grinch you can watch. You also have the most recent with Benedict Cumberbatch, or you can watch a classic with what's his name, Jim Carrey. Which, by the way, one of my two lines that I love quoting from that, and I got it because of my friend, is hate, 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 loathe entirely. Love that. And the other one is, I want a pony so I can ride it twice, get bored, and sell it to make glue. That line. And another one that's also a lot of people love for Christmas is Elf with Will Ferrell.
Elf, yeah.
Which I actually love. I love quoting that movie.
Claus.
Oh, it's the Santa Claus. How did I forget that one? Because I love that one. The Santa Claus 1, 2, and 3. But I love in the scene with Elf where he basically, when he sees Santa, goes, I know him, which is something I reference constantly when I know something, or I'm like, I know him. But yeah, so there's a bunch of Christmas movies. So I think this is the end of our episode. You can follow us on all the things. You can find us on Instagram and Facebook at Prima Nerd Podcast. You can listen to us. We're available wherever you listen to podcasts. All of this will also be in the description below for those of you watching on YouTube.
Yeah, you can see us in YouTube if you want to.
Yes, you can also make sure to click subscribe, click the bell so you can get notified when there's a new episode. And I was going to say, and also let us know what your favorite Christmas movies are. Yes. Share with us what are your classic Christmas movies that you think that every year you have to watch. I forgot to mention them, but I'm going to mention it right now. One of mine is always Love Actually as well. Besides all the ones that we mentioned, Love Actually. So this is also going to be our last episode for the year. So Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy New Year, and we'll see you. And we'll have new episodes available back in January.
Yeah. So Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Bye. Happy holidays. Bye.